Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Live. Crash is ready to go. He missed this last week, so he's very happy to be back in the stamp room and ready to get to it. So tonight I have a kind of a welcome to spring card. I decided to look through some of the stamp sets that are sitting on my shelf and maybe haven't seen a lot of love in a while. Oh, I need to change my setting here. I need to stop my sound on my computer because I'm getting double me. We don't need that. There we go. So we're going to, I found a stamp set, Playing in the Rain. I haven't used this for a while because this, I don't know, I just always think of this as a spring kind of stamp set, or I guess anytime it rains, but for us that's mostly spring. Sometimes summer. One summer we had a lot of rain, but anyway, I'm digging it out and we're going to be playing with it tonight because I just love that happy little bunny that's in that stamp set. So I think most of you, if you have followed me on Facebook, that you have seen that I was at On Stage this past weekend and had a great time. Sheila was there. Sheila's on tonight. And so was Deb, another team member. And we had a great time in Raleigh, North Carolina. We made it back, no problems. We were in the TSA line, ready to come home, ready to check in and come home. And the lights went out briefly because they were having thunderstorms and tornado warnings in the area. So, but it just went off briefly, then it came back up, and then we just had to wait for all the systems to come online so they could get us through. Then we got to the gate and they had closed kind of our ramp because there was lightning outside and they wouldn't let their people on the ground outside handling stuff because it was too dangerous, which totally understand. But JetBlue got us out on time and there were no issues, and that was not the case for a lot of the other demonstrators who maybe were waiting on planes coming from Charlotte or other places that were encountering weather. But ours was just fine and we made it out, no problems. Even the screaming kid that was in the airport waiting with us, right, Sheila and Deb? Even that kid was great on the flight. The flight was smooth. It was so nice. So we were very thankful. Thankful to be back and thankful to have about a week for me to get ready to go away on another trip. So it's cool in Florida, huh, Ruth? Let's define cool for you. Go ahead and tell me what your temps are. Ours, I think, have been in the 40s today. It's cooler than it has been, but not as cool as it was in the winter. So we're thankful for that. And that's really what I wrote in the description of this video, is that, I love snow, but I am so ready when it's spring and the snow goes. I love it in its season. Fair enough, right? So she said 40s in the AM and 60s daytime. Well, 60s daytime is cool for you. It is not cool for us. But I am headed to warm weather next week. I'm going on a vacation. My husband and I very rarely go on real vacations, meaning like out of New England or even out of the country. We are going next week. The boys will be here on their own, hopefully managing, but we're excited to hit warmer weather and do nothing but relax on the beach. But until then, I've got a lot of work to do, and that includes Friday Night Live. So let's get started. I'm going to turn you around and we're going to see what we can do here. Let's just adjust this a little bit. My phone holder, I might need a new one. I don't know. This one's been acting up lately and I don't like it. All right, let's see. I think that will work right there. All right, so tonight we're going to be playing with, as I mentioned, the Playing in the Rain stamp set. When this came out a couple of years ago, it came out with some really adorable designer series paper, but I'm going to use some alternate paper tonight, and it's still going to be an adorable card because these little guys, they are so, so cute. And this is the bunny. This is the happy little bunny. He's happy because spring is here. So as I'm creating tonight, remember that if you are on my email list, you will receive a PDF download tutorial that you can have for yourself, you can refer to. So if you want to recreate this card, if you're not on my email list, there will be a link in the video after we're done, so you can sign up for that. So I have a piece of boho blue cardstock. Now boho blue is one of the 2023-2025 in colors, which means its life is almost over. And so if you like any of the in colors from that year, and let me, from that release, and let me show you what they are, because it's time almost for me to flip my ink pads anyways. Got to get rid of these, so I'm using the new ones that I just found or just got. So boho blue, copper clay, moody mauve, pebbled path, and wild wheat. Now these are retiring, but you never know, they may come back in a color refresh, because that happens from time to time. So I wouldn't necessarily get rid of these if I were you, because they might come back at some point. Wait until the next color refresh to see if it comes back. And that should be due in the next 2 to 3 years. I can't quite remember where we are in that process at the moment. But anyways, these guys are going out. So if any of those are your favorites, I know Sheila really likes Moody Mauve, then stock up now. The re-anchors are going to be going fast. They'll, some of them are even on low inventory, I think. Maybe even gone by now. So we're going to start with this boho blue as our card base. We will need a piece of basic white that is 4 by 5 1/4. And to that, I'm going to take a piece of Designer Series paper. Now, I have used a piece of the Mediterranean Blooms paper. I thought that these little daffodils looked perfectly springy and should be used on this card. So I'm going to just take my stamp and seal. I know some of you are thinking, wait, you're not using glue? No, I'm not tonight. Because I need this kind of tape for my ribbon. I'm going to show you in a minute. All right, so there we have that. And then we're going to create our focal point with the little bunny. So let me get out. Here's a piece of basic white. And again, these measurements will be in the tutorial that is attached in Monday's email. This measures 2 1/8 by 2 3/4. I'm going to get out the bunny here, and I already have him mounted on a block. I'm going to ink him up in Tuxedo Memento or Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I'm gonna stand up so I can get over top of this, make sure I get it on there okay. I'm not so sure if I did or not, but yeah, not bad. We'll live with it. And then we need to color, but I don't need to color a lot of him. I am going to color the puddle. And so I've got the boho blue Stampin' Blends. I'm using the light. And I'm just going to put in, just color my water blue down here. I'm hoping that the water that I'm seeing next week in the Caribbean is going to be a nice aqua-ish color. Now that's a little dark for me, so I'm just going to bring in my color lifter, and I'm going to kind of scribble in the center of this. I don't need to color it all, I just want to lighten some areas. So there are lighter areas of the puddle, you know, probably with less in it, and then the edges are a little bit darker. And then I'm going to bring in my Pretty in Pink, and Pretty in Pink is, this is a color that used to be part of our regular offering and then came back. And so it's back in. I'm going to color this bunny's nose, and I'm going to put a little pink in the ear. Again, this is a little bit brighter than I personally want. So I'm going to bring in my color lifter again and just go over it just a little bit. I'll just lighten it ever so much. Make it a little bit more tolerable for me. Now, I could color his jacket. I could make him a brown bunny, but he's going to be a white bunny because he's just come out of winter. He hasn't started changing color yet, but he will be because it's spring. But what I want to do is I want to do some paper piecing. Now, paper piecing, in order to paper piece, you need a scrap, and I had a really small scrap here just a second ago, and yet now it is no longer, oh, here it is. Okay, so I have just a little piece of scrap right here, and this is the same designer series paper that's going to be on our card. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to find where sort of up is. I guess it's this. And I'm going to take just a scrap, something to stamp on. I'm going to ink up the center of my bunny where his coat is and stamp over this. There's a piece of hair on there. Let's see. So let's see. I want to get as many of these little flowers as I can. So we're going to just go like this. Hopefully I've stamped it right. Let's see what we got. Okay, my jacket is all the way on there. But you know what? There's a lot of, I don't like that. So we're going to come in and try it again. There's a lot of just background color, and I really want a lot of flowers on my coat here. So let's stamp it right here. All right. Now to paper piece, all I'm going to do is cut out just the jacket here. And it doesn't take a ton of time, but the effect is really very cool. In general, smaller patterns work best for this unless you have a rather large image that you are paper piecing. I have not a large image. I have just a little small rain jacket. I'm just going to cut around that jacket. Even those of you that don't like fussy cutting probably will find this okay to do. And I'm cutting on the line. You don't want to cut outside the line at all. You cut on the line, or even on the inside of the line a little bit, because you're putting it right over the top of this. Let me get that out of the way. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put this on here like that. And now he's got a patterned rain jacket. Isn't that fun? Fun and cute. Stylish. I saw a rain jacket tonight when I went out to eat. Peter and I went to a local place called Litchfield's, and there was a lady there who was wearing a rain jacket that had different suns and with faces on them. So hers was kind of cheery as well. All right, so we have this. Now I need to get my piece of, I need to get this back out. And where did my boho blue layer go? I just had it. Oh my goodness. I put everything together so I wouldn't lose it. And look, I've lost it. All right, I found it. So we're going to take this and we're going to adhere it right to a layer of boho blue that's just 1/4 inch larger in both dimensions. So this will be 2 3/8 by 3 inches. That's going to go right here. Now, before I layer that down, I need to decide where my sentiment is going to go. And I'm going to put on Oh Happy Day. In general, I probably use different sentiments as much as possible with this set because I find that these two are fairly limiting. But that's the beauty. We have lots of stamps and sentiments to choose from. I think on this one, I'm going to go on the bottom. I'm going to go right down here. Oh, happy day. There we go. I just wanted to make sure I had that nice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some ribbon on here. I'm going to get out my iridescent striped ribbon, and you can do a couple different kinds of bows. So if you want to do a traditional bow where you wrap it around the layer and you tie it on the side, you're going to need about 20 inches. If you want to just make a little bow that doesn't have any tails, you can just tie a bow, or in the middle of this ribbon and adjust it a little bit. What's going to happen is we can get this nice and tight, let the bows really little, the ends really little. Okay, so that's probably pretty good. And then I'm going to just flip this over a little bit, and I'm going to make it so that I wrap this around here. So what I'll need is a little bit of adhesive there and here. And this is why I didn't use glue, because glue's not going to work for this project very well. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to put this fairly close to the side, I think. And this way I don't need a ton of ribbon because it's not going around the whole card. All right, let me see how this works for me. So if I have that there and I put this right here, that's going to work. That's going to work pretty nicely after all. So what we can do is we can take this, and you can see you have a little bit of extra ribbon. I wasted more than I needed to, I suppose. And we'll just take our adhesive and put some in the corners, maybe a little bit in the middle. I'll put that right on our card. I want to make sure I don't see the back edge on the front of my card. So that's why I just flipped it over. Sometimes the scoring's just a little tad bit off. Now, if you don't like this kind of coming up a little bit, you can put a little adhesive here where it's not going to show, and just tack that down. And I'm going to not raise this on dimensionals, although you can. I'm going to lay it down just right on here. I'm going to show you how to step this up in just a second. Okay, so there we have a pretty simple card. Now, I think that's a little crooked. I'm not using Seal Plus, so it was easy for me to change. Now, to step this up, we can do a couple things. I'm going to bring in these tinsel gems. This is the Tinsel Gems 4-pack. And let's bring in a big yellow one. And I think I'm going to put that right up in the corner. It's almost like a sun up there. I mean, it's a tiny sun, but hey, any sun's a good sun, right? And then maybe I put a couple more just over here. Got our power of 3 going on there. Another way that we can amp this up is take our Wink of Stella and add some sparkle to the water. But another thing that we can do is we could, instead of just stamping our bunny on here, we could stamp it on there for placement, but also stamp it again on a scrap piece and die cut it, because there are coordinating dies for the Playing in the Rain set, and those dies have all those animals that are featured on the front, but also they've got a wood stump and a bridge and an umbrella and kites and grass. They have all sorts of things, clouds. So really nice die set. Or you could fussy cut this guy, but you can see I colored in the same way. And what I'm going to do now to just amp this up is I'm going to put some dimensionals on him. And layer him right over the top. And I want to get it as close to the original as possible. So it's like he's jumping out of the puddle. In fact, if you have a wobble, if you know what a wobble is, you could add a wobble, and then he could, you know, really shake when he jumps. But that's just one way that you can amp that up a little bit. Now, to decorate the inside, I'm going to do something, I think this might be a birthday card, but it could just be a note to welcome spring. So I'm not going to put a sentiment in here, but I am going to bring out the umbrella. I could do the flowers, but the reason why I'm not going to is because I don't want to add in any more colors for you. I'm trying to do this with as minimal color as possible. So I'm just going to add in some umbrellas along one side here. And then I'm going to just color them in. Ooh, I'm not going to do pink and blue because that's kind of baby kind of stuff. So I'm just going to do blue because the blue goes with the it goes with the card base. All right. Ruth, I think I sent the email out, but I have, and I'm going to bring in the dark boho blue just to add some definition, but I sent out your Clubhouse kit today, a little earlier than I would probably normally do, but since I'm leaving on a jet plane on Tuesday, figured I'd get it out sooner rather than later. Got the in-person one tomorrow, so that'll be fun too. Oh, you know what you could have also done is, let's see how it works. Let's see how it works. Let's see how it would look if I, it might be that this is too large a print for my umbrella, but let's see. Let's see if I fussy cut this. And I'm not going to do the handle. I'm just going to do what would be the fabric part of the umbrella. So we could have that there as well. Yeah, why not? There we go. So we have just some alternating, and I didn't need to bring in, I got a yellow umbrella without actually needing a yellow Stampin' Blend. So that's paper piecing. And if you haven't tried it, you should. It's really very simple, and it's a fun way to add and simply to add a pattern to your cards. So there you have it. Thank you for joining Crash and I tonight, Crash and me tonight. We had lots of fun, and I hope that you have a great weekend ahead of you. Bye. Ooh, how do I shut it off? I've forgotten. Here we go.